South America. A big, beautiful, and diverse continent with 12 countries and nearly 430 million people in it. In this video, I'm going to talk about each country's general stereotypes and also, hopefully, you'll learn a thing or two about them. So let's just get into it. Argentina. They're stereotyped to be all loud, extroverted, and arrogant gauchos who have asados every day of the week, and they cannot survive more than 24 hours without mate and beef. I believe the arrogant stereotype comes from the fact that people usually get to meet Argentinians that live outside of Argentina. And frankly, they're not usually the humblest bunch. Bro, Argentinians are so entitled. What? Argentinians are the most humble, most amazing people. They'll always give you a hand whenever you're in trouble. Every single one of them I've met is such a gem. Really? Maybe I misjudged them. By the way, where are you from? Argentina. And here's a joke regarding the arrogant stereotypes. An Argentinian boy says to his dad, "Dad, when I grow up, I want to be like you." The dad asks, "To be as good as me?" And the son replies, "No, to have a son like me." They're obsessed with football, are good at it, and absolutely adore Messi and Maradona, maybe even more than beef. Their culture is a mix between Spanish and Italian. They love tango, talk really fast, and have one of the most recognizable accents that has some hints of Italian in it. Argentinian music, especially their rock music, their TV shows and movies, or art in general, is first class. Here are my favorite movies. P.S. Either Ricardo Darín is in everything, or I just love his movies. Some call them wannabe Europeans. That's mainly because some nationalists brag about how white, more European, and more civilized they are relative to the rest of South America. If you want to have a pleasant conversation with Argentinians, don't mention the Falkland Islands in front of them. That will set off some unpleasant conversations, to say the least. They're often memed because they used to be a safe haven, and you may not know this, but The Simpsons is a religion down there. It's way more popular in Argentina than it is in the US. They always reference or quote the show in a day-to-day life, make memes about them, and also there's Simpson graffiti all over the country. Argentinians also make some mean desserts. Their caramel pastries and alfajores de membrillo are reasons enough to make them a top-tier country. And what else? Their government is very corrupt, and the people always use some creative insults, which are mostly directed towards the people in the government. Bolivia is a diverse country, both culturally and geographically. There you can find pretty much every biome on Earth, and the landscapes are breathtaking to say the least. I mean, look at this. This is the Salar de Uyuni, and it looks like an anime opening. Bolivians are mostly stereotyped to be all poor and indigenous people who either are hardworking construction workers or farmers that grow and sell fruits and veggies. They play the flute, chew coca leaves 24/7, live way above the sea level in the middle of clouds, don't have cars, and instead ride their llamas to work. But if they own a car, it's a Toyota Hilux. They're also known to be very introverted and quiet people who talk like they're whispering. The stereotypes aside, they're humble, polite, but skeptical at first, so it takes some time for them to open up. Unfortunately, among some other South American countries, they're generally marginalized and treated like peasants. Bolivians tend to party and go to carnivals all the time, they drink a lot, and they can handle their booze pretty well. Also, they love Argentina and their football teams. Bolivia has a high altitude, with its capital city being the tallest capital in the world. So basically, the football matches there are played at a Mount Everest level altitude. Bolivia is a safe country, and that's a point of pride for Bolivians. They're also proud of their food, which is great and very hearty, but it's not much known internationally. The people protest hard when needed. They block the roads and march whenever they want to. They even had protests because the national channel that aired The Simpsons cut the airing from 2 hours to 45 minutes. Brazil. Generally, their stereotypes paint this picture. They're poor people who play football right after they come out of the womb and love Ronaldinho Gaucho more than their own mother. They're all super tan, always wear sandals, and either live in the favelas nearly getting killed every day, or live in the Amazon and have a pet monkey. The entire country is Amazon rainforest and beaches, and it's always hot. The men all look like Eddie Grotto from Tekken, and the women are attractive and fit and always wear bikinis. There are carnivals all the time, they dance samba and hang out on the beach, or do the boat both at the same time. They have a strong beach culture, since a good percentage of them live on the shoreline. And still, some people think they speak Spanish or Brazilian, and that all of them either come from Rio de Janeiro or Sao Paulo, and have no idea what Brasilia is. They're also a stereotype to be noisy people who blast loud music basically everywhere and anytime, and watch videos at full volume in public.
Ai, carinha desse moleque.
The stereotypes aside, there's some high-energy, extroverted people who usually value family and friendship and are quite relaxed and easy to befriend. So basically, human golden retrievers. Social status and quote-unquote image matters a lot in Brazil, and they're obsessed with horoscopes. Also, they use instead of One thing I love about them is that even the very poor can have much more positive outlook on life. Brazilians are known to be helpful and accepting of foreigners, and their diversity is on another level. So where are you from? I'm Brazilian. You don't look Brazilian. Yeah. To prove this, here are a couple of their famous football players. If someone tells you they're Brazilian, as long as they sound like one, you should never doubt them. Their country is rich in natural resources and their politicians are corrupt. And if you go to Brazil, you have to go to one of their famous steakhouses and get some churrasco and maybe even share a drink with an off-duty cop. Yeah, you'll definitely spot a couple of them. There are unsafe areas and there are great areas to live in Brazil. And if you want to know more specifically about them, check out my Brazil Stereotypes video. Chileans are stereotyped to be super introverted, non-confrontational, and reserved people who say well a lot, talk really fast, and have their own mythical language that no mortal can understand. Chile is quite mountainous, and as a result, they have a mountaineer mentality. They're not fans of random small talk with strangers or chatting just for the sake of it. And even when they do talk to a stranger, it's usually in a serious, disinterested way. Chileans think twice before saying something or doing anything, and being too loud there is seen as low class and is looked down upon. So yeah, in Chile, blasting music at max volume isn't a status symbol. Speaking of which, they do make some banging music. Hypocrites are hard to find in Chile. If someone doesn't like you for some reason, they'll let you know. Yeah, they're not very subtle when it comes to that. They're sort of like Slavic people. They seem reserved and act cold, but once they get comfortable with you, they're quite chill. I mean, you can even say Chilean without chill. But if you want them to open up, either get them drunk or, get to know them. Chileans are good at drinking and drink a lot, especially on September 18th, during which they all become nationalists and celebrate that day without even knowing what is really being celebrated. They are highly literate people who value work and order and are organized and so well put together, but at the same time they're always late and usually leave everything for the last minute. They're not afraid of earthquakes, and unless the freaking roof falls off, they're not gonna move an inch. In fact, in 1960, Chile had the biggest earthquake ever recorded, with a 9.5 magnitude quake. When it comes to food, Chileans like eating what you'd call white people's food. They use a ton of mayonnaise, potatoes, corn, and even avocado, and no spices. Most South Americans have a positive image of Chile and admire them. They're relatively great in terms of development, lack of corruption, education, and infrastructure. But at the same time, Chileans hate themselves for not being more developed. Colombia, a stunning green country which is the music hub of Hispanic America and home to lovely Shakira and these other guys. Their stereotypes? Well, the first one that comes to mind is the cartel/Pablo Escobar/drugs stereotype. Colombia? I know all about them. I have watched Narcos on Netflix and also Sin Tetas No Hay Paraíso. I love that country. The average person from Colombia is a great dancer who always parties and listens to vallenato, cumbia, and salsa caleña at max volume and lives in an always foggy place between the mountains. Colombians are conservative, welcoming, and respectful people who always make you laugh, speak in a mellow, nice-sounding Spanish accent, and drink coffee instead of water. One other stereotype about them is that they're street smart and great tradesmen. And some people might say that they're cheaters and will scam you if you let them. They often describe themselves first by the region, and each region has its own accent, food, social customs, and even slang words. So yeah, there's quite a lot of regionalism in Colombia. In other South American countries, they're known as extroverted and loud, but in comparison to Venezuelans, they're really quiet. Colombian women are known to be gorgeous and super feminine. P.S. Plastic surgery is quite common amongst them. Again, for more info, you can watch this show. And about the dudes, they're handsome and very macho. Their government is as corrupt as it gets, and parts of the country are still dangerous because of the guerrilla and paramilitary groups. And about the nature, Colombia is the second most biodiverse country on Earth per square kilometer. They have some incredible beaches, rainforests, and mountain regions to explore. They also have the Ciudad Perdida, which is like their own version of Machu Picchu. Ecuador feels like a mix between Peru and Colombia, but don't tell them that. They're stereotyped as reserved, well-intentioned, serious folks who simply focus on their work, are never on time, and go about their lives without much drama. Ecuadorians are the kind of people that you would admire. Just like Gary Cooper, the strong, silent type. They automatically assume the white gringos have a lot of money and always glorify anything that comes from the US and Europe. Also, don't be alarmed if they touch you, hug you, talk about their problems, and start to cry. Their cuisine is sort of similar to Peruvians, but they use less spice. They make some mean ceviche and eat it with popcorn instead of tortillas or tostadas. Ecuador is breathtakingly beautiful. They have long stretches of beaches, mountains, the Amazon rainforest, and the Galapagos Islands, where iguanas, giant tortoises, and most importantly, these cute little things called blue-footed boobies live. Ecuador is like a middle child stuck between the two loud siblings called Peru and Colombia, so it often gets forgotten. I mean, it has a bunch of things going for it, but the only thing the average South American knows about Ecuador is that bananas, cacao, and shrimp come from there, and also Delfin Quispe. The government corruption in Ecuador is rampant, and also they have a crime problem. Guyana is a stereotype to be filled with Indians who drink a lot starting from an early age and eat nothing but chicken curry. This is a map of Guyana, and frankly, it might as well be like this, because aside from their geography, everything about them is like the Caribbean. I'm from Guyana. Ghana? Wow. This is the first time I've met someone from West Africa. Guyana. It's in South America? Ah, Guyana. Do you know my country? Yeah. Because of our food, music, our diverse culture and ethnicities, the Amazonian wildlife and nature, all of them? No, Jonestown. Guyanese people have a clout mindset, work very hard, and always complain about wanting to be better. There's a saying in this regard that goes, everyone in Guyana wants cold water, but nobody wants to fill the bottle. And also, they have a weird observational sense of humor that some people might find anything but funny. It's somewhere between borderline rude and the Three Stooges. Paraguay. The people are fun, hardworking, pronounce the ere in a weird way, and drink tereré for dinner, in the morning, in the shower, tereré everywhere. Paraguayans have the ability to sell anything. They're pirates from a landlocked country. In South America, not many countries think about Paraguay. Well, except for Brazil. They've got to cross the bridge and get fake, cheap products from them. Nowadays though, the store owners who sell fake stuff to them are mostly Brazilians, who import Chinese crap to sell to other Brazilians. The country's biggest export is construction workers. They're everywhere and they're good. They're also great football players, but play like they have a blood feud with your family. Naturally, Paraguay is a beautiful country. It's hot and mostly swamps and flat areas. Their language, Guarani, which is an indigenous language, is unintelligible to other South Americans. Here's a joke, and excuse my pronunciation. Yo soy el pistolero del Paraguay. Estoy aquí para matarlo. ¿Para qué? Paraguay. They have a distinct way of looking at life, don't take things seriously, and they'll always make you laugh. Peru is home to ancient civilization like the Incas, with an ancient culture and massive indigenous population. and because of this, there is a lot of racism against them. Basically, Peruvians are the sacrificial lamb for all of South America's insecurities. In some countries that I'm not gonna mention, some people use Peruvian as an insult and discriminate heavily against them. The stereotypical person from Peru rides a llama to go around, eats guinea pigs and pigeons, and always puts pe at the end of every sentence. About the pigeon stereotype, the legend says that Peruvians who would gather in Santiago's Plaza de Armas looking for work were so hungry that they would hunt and eat the pigeons there. Dear Peruvians, is this true or not? In reality, they're humble, well-mannered, and reserved people who fly under the radar. Also, they're late for everything. If they set a meeting for 1 p.m., expect them to show up around 3 or 4. They're always in a beef with Mexico for some reason, but it's only on a meme level, nothing more. If you hold your life dear, don't ever use the two words of Pisco and Chile in a sentence in front of Peruvians. They firmly believe that they have the best cuisine in the world. In fact, did you know that Peruvians invented potatoes, tomatoes, and habanero? Almost everything was exclusively invented in Peru. They even invented invention. Also, Albert Einstein was actually Peruvian. His original name is Albertano Quispean. A group of scientists who were also Peruvian have discovered that even Adam and Eve were Peruvian. Yeah, the whole world revolves around Peru. They're stereotyped as a bunch of jungle people who speak Dutch and like 9 other languages, eat nothing but roti, and do illegal gold mining on the side. Suriname is almost all rainforests. It's a beautiful country with a Dutch and European element to its culture. They used to be a Dutch colony, but in 1975, about 300,000 of them left for Netherlands after the independence, which was about 1/3 of the population. They're the greenest country in the world, and about 93% of their land is covered with rainforest. But the illegal gold mining and those Chinese companies that pollute the rivers with mercury and cyanide are trying their best to take away the title. Uruguay is relatively small, peaceful, progressive, and liberal. And compared to other South American countries, it's more stable and the people have a better quality of life. Also, comparatively, their politicians aren't as bad and don't absolutely hate their own people. Uruguayans are stereotyped as chill, reserved, educated, civilized people who speak like the Argentinians and love nothing more than drinking mate, Luis Suarez, and Cavani. They need to constantly sip mate, otherwise they lose their citizenship and become stateless. They complain a lot about everything and can always find something negative and trivial to complain about. And those who don't, they complain about others complaining. They have some sort of a banter going on with Argentinians, with them jokingly saying that they are the rightful owners of Uruguay. They kind of are similar to Argentina, but a smaller, quieter, flatter, more polite, and more depressed. Uruguay is kind of like Argentina's Canada. They have legalized the greens, so some people think of them as hippie stoners. They won the very first World Cup, which was around the time dinosaurs were roaming around. Yeah, Uruguayans are out for blood when it comes to football. The country is also very scarcely populated. I mean, there are more cows than people. And about 2/3 of the country lives huddled up in Montevideo, and the rest is semi-empty. Also, the country is very expensive. But what I admire about them is that despite their disadvantages due to their size and resources, somehow they've managed to defy all logic and do pretty well under the circumstances anyways. Venezuela is a lovely country that's going through a really tough time. They have an abundance of 3 things: natural resources, beauty pageant winners, and a scumbag, selfish politicians who after years of terrible decisions have put the country into the state it is in right now. I think the most famous stereotype about them is that they're very, very loud. So loud that you have to stand far away, or else your ears ring. If a group of people are literally screaming at a restaurant or someone is shouting over the phone, they're most likely Venezuelans. The average Venezuelan is a super talkative immigrant party freak who loves blasting music at full volume on a Sunday at 1 in the morning and won't let you sleep. They're mostly conservative and are said to be very good looking and cannot live without arepas. Venezuelans are also known for their accent. Some say it's weird and some say it's cool and flamboyant. Since most Venezuelans live near the coastline, they tend to have more of a Caribbean influence. They're expressive, care a lot about how they look, exaggerate things, and carry their flags everywhere. Venezuela has been going through very high immigration lately, and this has caused some tensions and hostility towards them. So you'd hear that they get called criminals and such by others. I'm wishing the best for you Venezuelans, and that's about it, dear South Americans. For more videos, check out my channel, and adios.